Shut up and sit down.
Hello and welcome to the Giant Monster Podcast with me, Larry, and
Jacob.
And this episode will be on our top 10 Halloween films.
Well, films to watch on Halloween specifically.
Yeah, the rules as follow. One, we can't choose sequels, we have to choose the first in a franchise, so we can't have spin-offs or any silly things like that.
It's basically just any film that you would imagine watching on Halloween, so things like they can have horror elements, monsters, or be about Halloween. So you're going to get a lot of kids' films on here. But
looking at mine aren't very horror at all.
But considering that it's the season to dress up as characters from other things, I'm going around asking for sweets. Well, in Britain we don't really do that because for some reason we're not into Halloween as much as America is. I don't know why. Maybe you can discuss that at another point. This is just going to be a discussion on our favourite things to watch when we're in the Halloween mood. So, who's going to go first? Because we already got a list of 10.
Personally, I think it should be you because they save best for last, usually.
Alright then, so on my list, number 10 is Poltergeist. Now, have you ever seen Poltergeist, Larry?
And that the one with the squeaky sounding woman?
So much rage, so much betrayal. I've never sensed anything like it.
No, it's basically the film that's been parodied.
Yeah, and the house is haunted or something.
Yeah.
Did Simpsons do a really good parody of that?
No, it was Family Guy did a pretty decent
Oh
parody
yeah, Family Guy. The bit where he repeatedly beats Meg over the head or something.
Yeah, and the tree comes out and gets...
Oh no, he punches her, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, the Poltergeist is a Steven Spielberg film, and it's basically a horror film if it was a blockbuster. And unlike other blockbuster versions of, like, genre films, this one's actually pretty good and pretty memorable. It's actually quite scary if you've ever actually seen it. Like, have you not seen it, have you?
I think I may have. That's why I'm thinking of the squeaky woman. There's clairvoyant in the film, yeah.
Do you remember the infamous clown scene?
No,
where,
I'm thinking it here.
No. Well, fair enough. It's something that you should definitely give a watch to because it's a really, really good haunted house film. It's still very well... It's not aged, like, a lot. You can still tell the datedness of the effect.
Oh yeah, well a lot of films have that.
But it's got such a nice vibe to it, and...
a nice vibe to a horror film.
Yeah, it's just got a nice, like... It's clearly very well made, if you know what I mean.
A labour of love, if you will.
It's a lot more effective than most other films in the genre, for
instance, Paranormal Activity, that's it.
Yeah, Paranormal Activity is dog shit, but I don't want to talk about those.
Well, no, it's a very brief comparison I would like to make is the fact that it's a haunted house movie, essentially.
Yeah, it is. It's more of a ghost. Well, not really ghosts in it much, but they're more like...
But what I mean is, like,
ghouls.
what parallels, like, travel between the two films? In the sense I'm saying Paranormal Activities is more like a modern audience, and Poltergeist would be for people who, like, appreciate more put together films. Maybe. So what I was trying to say is, if for someone who may like Paranormal Activity, why should they watch it? That's what I'm trying to get at.
I don't think anyone who likes Paranormal Activity should watch it because it'll probably scare the shit out of them, because you actually do see stuff in Poltergeist.
Fair enough then. Move on to your number 9.
Number 9 is the Thing. I don't know why I struggled saying that.
Ben Grimm from Fantastic Four?
No.
Well, Fantastic Four is a horror film, all of them.
It is, all of them are horror films, especially that new one. But The Thing, the 1980s version, not the original 1950s version, The Thing from Another World, the remake by John Carpenter. The reason I put this on is because I wanted to at least include some horror movies, and out of the horror movies that I adore, because I'm not really big on horror, just because I think the genre just has ran out of steam last decade. When you watch The Thing, it has what I look for in a really good horror film. It has a really scary monster. It has a great cast of characters that you remember. The monster, its origins are interesting, and they're not just like a dude just going around with a knife. And the effects for the time, and still are now, incredible. Like, I would have put Alien on here, but I just don't think Alien is something that I'd watch on Halloween.
No, I find sci-fi as a genre as not really Halloween.
Yeah, I mean, The Thing is just a really good horror film it's just a fun ride at the end of the day. It's not really scary, I'd say, because it's more like, there are some moments where you're like a bit freaked out, but the creature itself is one of those creatures, like, you can't believe the form it takes sometimes. You ever seen it?
No, I've seen of The Thing. I've never watched it. I've seen, like, clips from both of them.
Like, obviously you never actually see what the creature looks like. It's just a big blob of flesh most of the time. But the things they come up with, like what it turns into, are really, really creative.
Oh, so it transforms?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
What it does is it assimilates people, and it can take on their disguise. So basically they're trying to to find out who is the thing.
Ah.
And then there's that scene where there's been parodied in South Park where they check the blood. That's where it comes from.
Oh, yeah, the one from the episode where they have nits.
But yeah, the creature can transform. You never see what it looks like. All the characters in it are quite memorable. You remember them all. So it's got all the elements that I find in a really good horror movie. I still remember it today. It's very, very gory. So if you're like squeamish, don't watch it, because even though the gore is a bit silly, it does get like
so between the original and the remake, what differences can you draw out?
You mean the black and white one?
Yeah.
The black and white one, the main difference is the black and white one's got a lot of memorable moments in it. Like in the black and white one, the creature is a vegetable. Like it looks like kind of a cross between Frankenstein,
evil tomato,
like a grey alien. Yeah, you can't really tell it's a vegetable, but it's more like a standard slasher film where the monster's more like a person. But it's got some good moments. And then they had the recent remake, which was awful, a couple of years ago, where they just made it all CG and it was horrible. Like, it wasn't so bad to do it all in CG, but all the CG looked crap, so that's the problem. But either way.
Moving on to your number 8 then.
So my number 8 is Hotel Transylvania. Now, normally, I can't stand most of the things that Adam Sandler does, but when you put him behind Genndy Tartakovsky. If you don't know who Genndy Tartakovsky is, Samurai Jack, Dexter's Lab, basically all the best cartoons that you watched when you were a child. When you watch this film, you just got to appreciate the amount of effort and like energy that's in it. Like the animation, good God, I never thought I'd see animation of this like standard in a 3D environment, just because you never thought it was possible. But you take out the fact that it's an Adam Sandler film,
and it's just grown-ups.
Yeah, because even then, like you can't really like separate the characters that's in it from like the people who are voicing them, because you know all the people that are voicing them are usually Adam Sandler like regulars.
To be fair, when you think about it, the characters in the movie are two-dimensional characters and they're voiced by two-dimensional actors.
But there's such a good feel about it. Like it's so funny and it's so like charming.
Yeah.
That you don't really care. It's like I just put it as a Halloween one that I love to watch, just because it's a film about all the classic monsters in a hotel, just as a cartoon.
It is quite an interesting premise when you think about it.
It's a really like just fun little film that all the family can enjoy. I know my little brother likes it a lot. It's just a fun kids movie. It's a fun kids movie to watch on Halloween. It's really charming and funny. I don't really have much else to say about it, because it's an Adam Sandler film where it's good. It's really good.
Well, the one thing I would like to talk about it, touch on it briefly, is that I don't feel as if the film needs a sequel.
No,
I haven't watched it yet.
Looks like they had no ideas and just decided, you know what? Let's just do anything.
And unlike Pixar, when they have no ideas, they still make a decent film.
Yeah, because originally Genndy Tartakovsky, after having success with this one, he wanted to do a 3D Popeye movie. Have you ever seen the clip for it?
No.
It's really awesome. I'm going to show you after we record it.
Yeah, I'll put a link in the description below for that as well.
But unfortunately it fell through, and he's back doing this. I don't know, I just really appreciate this first one. I'll probably try and see the second one if I get a chance to, but I'm not expecting much from it.
No, I'm really concerned they're going to try and turn it into a trilogy.
That's my number 8. My number 7 is one of your favourites, and that is the Halloween tree. This was as high as I could put it. Now, for those of you who've never seen the Halloween tree and lived in England in the 1990s, if you remember Cartoon Network, every Halloween it would likely be put on, and it was a little film, 2D animated, about a bunch of kids who have a friend called Pip. They're trying to see if Pip can join them on Halloween to go trick-or-treating.
This isn't spoilers, by the way, because this happens literally
this is like the first 10 minutes. And they find out that something's happened to Pip, and they go to a house that's owned by this creepy old man, and they go around chasing him across through time in different periods based around Halloween.
Well, they don't chase him. He's directing them. He's trying to help them.
I can't remember really, because I haven't watched it in a while.
It's essentially because, again, without too many spoilers, Pip steals his own pumpkin, because pumpkin. I'll get my words out correctly. Pumpkins in this film represent people's actual life, and the Halloween tree. It's essentially like that whole deal where you see people with sundials representative of the time they have left to live.
Except it's pumpkins go out, obviously that person's life is gone.
Yeah.
So it's basically just them following him around different periods. They go to like Egypt where it's Halloween.
They go to Mexico and celebrate the festival of Dia de los Muertos.
Yep.
Day of the Dead.
And many other places. I haven't seen the film in a few years, but I did watch it every Halloween if I got a chance.
I'll put it on this Halloween.
Yeah, it'd be good to watch it again. So, but it's a really, really solid Halloween film that's about the spirit of Halloween, and it really showcases.
Yeah, it's kind of like sorry to interrupt you. Just say it's kind of the definitive, in a sense, Halloween version of a Christmas movie. The whole idea of what sums up the spirit of Christmas. This sums up the spirit of Halloween.
Exactly. And while I would have put it much higher if I'd probably seen it again.
Yeah.
This is as high as I can put it now, just remembering it from having having watched it not in at least 7 years.
Yeah.
But that's just me. But it is a really, really solid film. If you've never seen it, give it a check, give it a look. And moving on to my number 6, just because I know you'll have a lot to talk about the Halloween tree. My number 6, if you've never seen this, is an awesome little film called Cabin in the Woods.
I was going to mention it when you said The Thing, because you said about transformation, and I haven't seen Cabin in the Woods. I know you haven't.
I'm not going to spoil it for you.
But like, there's to do with like people get their own rooms or something. So it's like that tailored horror story thing. I like that premise.
It's basically the horror genre itself deconstructed in one film. Like the film.
Well, is it not like on the level of Scream, how they try to deconstruct it?
No, it's actually done in an awesome, clever way, unlike Scream. But with Cabin in the Woods, if you've still not seen it, like Larry hasn't, I will not spoil it for you here, just because you deserve to just see it on your own terms.
What kind of press did it receive? Because I remember it getting quite bad press.
Oh, really? It got amazing press.
Did it?
Everyone loved it. Yeah.
I'm in different circles then.
That's the thing. It was such a hard movie to market just because the film starts off up to a point like just a generic film. Like the monsters are generic, the characters are generic, but there's all reasons for it. And then when you find out the reasons for it, there's such a great payoff to it that it's like one of the best experiences of a horror film you'll ever see.
Interesting.
I don't want to say anything else just because it's one of those films that we need to watch. It's one of the ones that we need to watch for Halloween if we get a chance.
That's fine with me. Is that all you have to say on it then?
Yeah, because I can't really say anything else on it.
Move on
So
then.
moving on to my number 5 is one of my personal favourite movies, Donnie Darko. Now this is set around Halloween time. It's not really about Halloween. I think it fits the spirit. It's something that I would watch on Halloween. And have you ever seen it?
Again, no.
No?
But I know that it's the whole plot essentially revolves around a guy and his imaginary friend.
Well, technically there's 2 plots going on. There's the plot with his imaginary friend that's going to tell him that the world's going to end, and then the other plot is him just dealing with the fact that he's really smart and no one can just kind of get it, really.
So it's kind of interesting though, because the whole thing is centered around this character.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's the rabbit's name?
The rabbit's name is Frank.
Yeah, it's interesting because this guy in a suit, which kind of does fit the Halloween theme.
Yeah, because obviously towards the end of the film it is set on Halloween. But
it is actually set.
It's got a very like not really scary vibe, but more like a creepy atmospheric vibe. Like any part where like he's communicating with like Frank the rabbit is really intense and really creepy.
Yeah.
But other than that, the film's just got something about it that you can't quite explain, that when you watch it you'll see what I mean if you do ever watch it.
Is it that it's the film is somewhat unnerving and disconcerting?
Kind of. I mean, you might relate to Donnie a bit, I reckon, if you ever do get a chance to watch it.
Does he come across as someone who's on the, no offence to anyone, because I myself am on it, the autistic spectrum?
No, he's a schizophrenic.
Oh, he's schizophrenic,
Yeah.
so he does have mental health concerns.
Yeah.
It's always interesting, especially in horror films, to see someone who has mental health concerns, because it's very more real.
Yeah.
Instead of it just being, as you said, a guy running around with a knife or a machete. Not to slag on those films, because they are timeless for a reason, but it's interesting to see it more based on real events and real... I actually find that more scary.
You're right, but I don't want to spoil it again, like Cabin in the Woods, if you haven't seen it. So it's a really solid film. Check it out if you never have. And moving on to my number 4 is, of course, Shaun of the Dead. Just because out of all the Cornetto trilogy, it's the one most associated with what I'd imagine Halloween.
It's probably my
to be
favourite
about.
flavour as well, strawberry.
Strawberry. Shaun of the Dead really needs probably the least explanation out of all these, because you've probably all seen it out there, whoever's listening. There's not really much to say. It's Shaun of the Dead.
Benefit of the doubt, people who haven't, keep it as brief as possible then.
Well, Shaun of the Dead is it's my least favourite of the Cornetto trilogy, but that's like splitting hairs. It's like, it's still great.
For me personally, I feel as if it's not that it's my least favourite, it's the one that I've watched the most, and that you can sit down and like brain dead it, or you can fully watch it.
Yeah, you can watch it either way. It's such a rewatchable, timeless classic.
Yeah.
It's such a brilliant parody.
I would
of the
actually
genre.
like to do a video talking about the Cornetto trilogy, and if anyone would actually like us to do that, please comment and tell us that.
That would be great. I'd love to talk about all of them more
like
in depth.
really in depth,
Yeah.
like a long boring conversation about
You could
it.
really get in depth about these ones.
Oh yeah, you could talk about the subtle nuances and
Like
the
even-
cinematography of them.
Like World's End almost made this, but I think that Shaun of the Dead just conforms some more things that I would expect someone on Halloween to appreciate. So that's why it made the list. And it's also just
zombies. I mean, it's the go-to Halloween costume.
And it's of course it's Shaun of the Dead. It's like it's one of the best parodies of.
Seeing as
of
you're
the
not
recent
touching
years.
on the actual like sort of the plot, the summary of the film is: imagine your stereotypical zombie, let's run away from them horror film, but instead of that, because it's a comedy, it's kind of completely turned on its head, but not at the same time. It's very...
It's an actual zombie film with a comedy in it.
Yeah, like actually
Because
comedy, not like black comedy, just straightforward comedy.
Because these zombies are threatening. They do kill people.
I think a lot of it owes to it's like it's audio cues and it's visual gags because it's Edgar Wright, is it not?
Yes.
Yeah, you could tell he went to school to study film because he does what his like cinematography. There's very powerful shots where they will bounce between like the characters, or they'll show an action. Like he very concisely sums up like scenes where people. I'm rambling a bit, but it's one of those things you have to see it. I'll probably try and find a clip and put it in from Shaun of the Dead.
So, what's the plan? Right. We take Pete's car, we drive over to Mum's, we go in, we take care of Philip. I'm so sorry, Philip. Then we grab Mum, we go over to Liz's place, hole up, have a cup of tea, and wait for all this to blow over.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'll be here for like days trying to explain his interesting cinematography.
Fair enough.
Yeah, just move on then.
Yeah, moving on to number 3 is, of course, Ghostbusters. Now, this is probably another one that I don't really need to explain myself on. It's all
pretty
know
predictable, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you all know Ghostbusters. It's a bunch of guys, well, a bunch of comedians specifically, who get together and decide, you know what, we're going to fight ghosts for a living. Why not?
Interesting thing I want to just quickly touch on then, if you're not going to actually really surmise Ghostbusters, and I don't feel it does need surmising. I feel like if you haven't watched it, you're an idiot, and you should go watch it. And if you already have, then just rewatch it.
Yeah.
But one thing I wanted to surmise is, what's your opinions on the new one?
What, how they're doing a new one?
Yeah.
I don't really think it'll happen.
Oh no, it's already happening. It's going to happen. The one with the annoying female actress that I detest.
Oh, I know who you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way. Even if it does happen, it's not going to be very good.
If anyone would like us to watch it and do like a full commentary on it throughout the film, like a however enduring the film is, however long it is, yeah, we'll do that. Please leave a comment for that as well.
So yeah, Ghostbusters, you all know it. It's especially the Avengers of that generation.
It kind of is, and like the filming style is somewhat similar.
It's just a comedy version of a genre that's just really big budgeted and just really memorable. I mean, you all know the scenes from it. You all know the characters.
It's very interesting to think about it actually, because it's more a comedy film, but it does get quite horror at times. It does have some scary moments.
Yeah, it does have very scary and memorable moments.
I feel like it was more scary back in the time it came out during the 80s.
Yeah, and because it is very dated.
And then it's probably also quite a good one to show your kids, to scare them without terrifying them and traumatizing them.
Because it's not like intensely scary. It's like, it does have its moments, but I think you could get away with showing it to your kids if you've got any. It's probably something that you already would consider watching on Halloween. Maybe not. Maybe we're the only ones who think that.
Maybe. What's your number 2?
Number 2 is obviously Nightmare Before Christmas. I mean, this was going to make the list for both of ours.
It's Nightmare Before Christmas. Most people.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those very rare films where it's 2 holiday films in one. I mean, if we talk about Christmas movies when that comes to it, it will make the list as well.
That's something I want to do, a Christmas list. You should probably consider subscribing, because I'll obviously be some time away, and if you're really interested to find it out.
But Nightmare Before Christmas, it's one of the most about Halloween films that there are out there. I mean, the first song is literally about Halloween.
This is Halloween.
Yeah.
Personally, my favourite song is Jack's Lament, because I really appreciate Shakespearean style songs, and because Danny Elfman, Danny Elfman, just all of his musical production on the film, all of his singing roles, because it's a different voice actor for the spoken and the singing roles, but it's so fluid, and the songs aren't. That's one thing I love about Nightmare Before Christmas, is that the songs don't feel like they're forced in like most musical, where it just suddenly have some weird transition. The music will slowly come on, and you know the song's coming, and then boom, you're in the song.
And while the animation is probably a bit dated now, it looks great.
Blu-ray quality, I think there is a Blu-ray of it. Blu-ray quality will probably like sort of cover over the blemishes. A remaster would be nice.
I'm not talking about the look of it. I'm talking about like how the frames are a bit like choppy.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but that kind of works for Tim Burton's style, and I feel he tried to.
He didn't make it, did he? He only produced it.
Well, he showed up and ate some bagels.
Yeah, I can blame Tim Burton for like Corpse Bride and Frankenweenie, but
but I feel like in those, that's what I was trying to say, was that in those 2 films, I feel like he tried to copy the choppy jumpy all over the place style of it, because Corpse Bride kind of feels like that.
But either way, like Night Before Christmas, you know it's a good Halloween one to watch, and also a good Christmas one. But I don't really have much to say on it else, because it's just kind of one that explains itself, really.
Yeah, just move on to number one.
We'll probably have more to talk about this when you eventually come to talk about it.
I don't know. I've already talked about Danny Elfman and how I really love him, the guy who created the Simpsons theme, for anyone who doesn't know.
Yeah, and you've probably heard him. He does pretty much all Tim Burton's music anyway, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, but number one is, of course, the ultimate horror movie.
Wait, do you want a drum roll?
No need for drum roll, but it's the not ultimate horror movie, the ultimate Halloween movie. Of course, how could it be anything else but Godzilla vs. King Kong? Now, come on, you gotta take this.
Is this why you didn't tell me this one?
Yeah, because how could it not be anything else? How could it not be the two greatest monsters having a throwdown with each other?
In a very cheap sets of costumes that fits to the Halloween theme.
You know, I can't really keep this rules up anymore. It's not Godzilla vs. King Kong.
Oh, okay.
But it might have been. Of course, my number one
is... if you're actually interested in us doing our own top 10 favourite monster movie films, as the channel is named The Giant Monster.
I'd have to watch it all again, just because I haven't seen it in years.
I'm not talking... Well, we could do top 10 Godzilla if people are interested in it. I was just talking about top 10 monster films in general.
Yeah, like, we don't have to be giant monsters. So yeah, my number one is Paranorman.
Oh,
Did you expect Paranorman to be number one?
I expected it to be on the list, and I was somewhat confused why so far you hadn't had it. But
yeah, you're waiting for it. But yeah, when I watched this movie, I fell in love with it. I've watched it many times since it came out, and that's not a long period.
One thing I want to touch on really quickly is I love the voice actor who plays his dad. I forgot his name. He plays the dad in... Have you seen the sitcom The Goldbergs? His voice, it's just like... That is such a dad, like middle America dad voice.
Yeah.
Like a discount John Goodman.
And obviously it takes place, well, on Halloween. It has a lot of Halloween themed things, but it's just really solid kids movie about Halloween. And
amazingly tight animation.
Yeah, amazingly looking animation. And it isn't about defeating a big monster at the end. It's just more about, like, it's got a really good message about bullying.
Yeah, it is essentially an ad campaign for anti-bullying.
And the final moments with main character Norman and the quote-unquote monster at the end are some of my favourite moments I've seen in a film in years.
Yeah, I'm glad you've stayed very vague, because this is one that I do not want to spoil for people.
No.
It didn't receive amazing box office.
No, but everyone really liked it.
Yeah, so it's one of those ones you should watch. If you watched Coraline or Box Trolls, it's by the same studio.
Yeah, and they're all great movies.
Laika or Laka, whatever they're called.
But it's when I'm thinking of Halloween, ever since I watched it every Halloween that it's come out. There's something about it. It's just got that just perfect charm. It's the perfect feel for Halloween.
If you like Andrew Garfield, you should watch it, because he looks like a weird caricature of Andrew Garfield.
It does. It's very funny. It's got some really good animations, some really good characters, some really creepy moments. Either way, that's my top 10 films to watch on Halloween.
Oh, great! It's my turn.
Yeah, it's your turn. Great.